Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca. I'm here today live with you from Geneva, Switzerland, and we want to talk about career transitions after MBAs. A lot of the time, clients will come to me asking for help right after the MBA or during the MBA because they have gotten to a point in their career where they need to rethink the rest of their professional path, and they decide to go for an MBA either online or face to face. And they have quite a bit of experience already, and they want to update their skills. They want to build a network. They want to understand what are the current problems in their industry, or maybe they want to shift into a new industry, a new job function, a new location, or maybe they are already in the location that they want to live in and they are looking to find a new job. Either they followed love or they followed family. So this is a common place for a lot of people. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about this as a career coach and a talent acquisition slash headhunter. Sometimes it's not always easy to have these answers on Google. So I want to make this available to you here. My name is Rebecca. I'm the founder of Talent Factory, and we help people find jobs. And most of my clients are going to be at senior level in, mostly in Switzerland, but in Europe in general, in C-suite positions. And they have had quite a lot of experience in the industry. So the challenges that they face most of the time have a lot to do with future proofing their career, because a lot of industries are becoming obsolete or less relevant as we move forward with so much digitalizations and transformations and optimizations, and COVID has brought so much to many industries that used to be relevant. We are seeing the fall of banking, insurance, tobacco, automotive, and we're seeing the rise of mobility, fintech, and um, electric, portable electronics. And so many of these changes have been impacting your career. And I am hoping to give you some answers here that will clarify the path ahead. So without further ado, let me share with you my screen so you can see where I'm at. Career transitions, post MBA. So these are the topics I want to cover with you. One thing that people don't necessarily, but some MBAs will have a very solid career center to support their graduates, their MBA students. But one of the things that people need a lot of support with when they come to me is resume optimization, CV review. So I'll give you some steps here to follow when it comes to optimizing your documents. The LinkedIn optimization is also a big part of what needs to be done when you're looking at more visibility, being seen as an authority in your space, and maybe even a content generating relevant content in your space. Networking mastery is also a big, powerful tool that I think people do acquire during their MBAs if they're face-to-face MBAs. Sometimes even if they're online MBAs, you can establish a pretty solid network throughout the course. But I'll give you some tips on how to build that. Job/company search. For people job searching the traditional way, I'll give you some tools as to how you can do it in a more, I would say, up-to-date way, especially if you're looking for senior level roles, because they're not always published. and I'll teach you a little bit about how to partner with the talent acquisitions and headhunters and founders that are looking for talent. Interview prep, that's a big part of what I do and what people usually seek help with when they have an opportunity. And sometimes it might not be a formal interview, maybe it's just a conversation that can really change the game for some of my clients. So we prepare for that, and I'll give you some of the tools that we use. Salary customization, I don't really like to say salary negotiation because I think it does scare people away. Salary customization is, to me, more adapting the employment contract to your needs, because when it's placed in front of you, it's adapted to the needs of the person who has drafted that contract. Now it's important that you adjust it to your reality, and I'll teach you a little bit about that as well. Feel free to send in your comments, your questions. I'll be happy to answer that. So when it comes to CV revisions, when you have gone through your program, your MBA, executive MBA, your online certification, you normally have to update your resume with the skills you've acquired, applicable skills that you have acquired. And I think it's important that the keywords that are describing you are matching what the market is using to describe professionals with your set of skills. And I love to highlight transferable skills, hard skills, competencies, the value you bring to society, and not necessarily focusing so much on your experience, your how senior you are, or how many years you've done the work you've done. I think it's really important that the CV speaks a lot more to the audience than about you, if you know what I mean. So, and it helps you transition in your career. I think highlighting transferable skills will always keep you relevant. Because, I mean, in the past we called it project management. Now we call it agile project management. Or maybe we used to call it, product development. Now it's product design, or, there are several ways to sort of convey the message. And I think just updating your the information with the key current trends, current keywords will give you an edge. The language that you use to talk about you in your resume is really critical. And also what I see a lot of the time, people are talking a lot about the past. And, it's kind of an easy mistake to make because the resume is about what I've done. But you should also be mindful of the fact that the resume should reflect what you want to be doing, what you want to continue to do. And I think this is not always clear to people when they describe themselves. They tend to go back to, yeah, this is all I've done, this is all I know how to do, but actually this is not really what I'm looking for in the future. So be strategic about how you're describing yourself. So don't highlight so much the stuff that you're not keen on doing more of, and focus really on the future and describing yourself in the CV. One of the things that work quite well in this market in Switzerland, in Europe in general, profile pictures. In the US, Canada, it's not really a thing for many reasons, because it can make for a biased selection process. But in Europe, we do have pictures on the resumes, on the CVs, on the bios. And I think it helps answer a lot of the questions that you would normally get if you don't have it in there, such as your age, your gender, your ethnicity, perhaps even your religious background. So a good quality picture goes a long way. And, it can even be a black and white picture if you're trying to mask your age, your ethnicity, and sometimes it does help to be discreet about those elements that will age you. make you look like a minority. And unfortunately, it's sad to say this, but it is usually, selection processes are not always objective and unbiased. They can be biased. So I want you to be mindful of that. Headline and me in a nutshell. So my obsession when it comes to resume, and if you've worked with me, you will know that I really like to see an executive summary at the top. That is me in a nutshell. It's my little biography with no fat, just highlighting hard skills, key elements about who I am, what I'm proud of, how um, the transferable skills, and mostly the ones that I want to keep doing more of. The not tasks, not accomplishments, not numbers, uh, but remarkable things about me, right? Things I've launched, products I've presented to the market, regions that I've covered, clients that I've assisted, and accounts that I've managed. Complex problems that I've solved for my company. The size of the team, these things matter. And I think they can come first before you start describing your accomplishments in your roles. And you describe them in the order of most recent all the way to less recent. So this is the work that I like to do with my clients who come out of an MBA and have to rethink, re-engineer their profiles. When it comes to LinkedIn optimization, so much can be done and should be done on LinkedIn. If you don't have a profile, get one urgently. Sign up for premium. If you're looking for opportunities, I think it would make sense. So there's a lot that can be done with the tool, whether you're looking for clients or for a co-founder or for an investor, for to sell your idea or to sell you as a talent. You will need LinkedIn. So I always tell my clients, you are the flower as a candidate, as a talent, and the headhunter, the HR, leader, the talent acquisition manager, the hiring manager, they are the bees. And, it's the bee that needs the flower. The flower can very well stand without the bee. And it's important that you understand this and you position yourself in a very elegant, visible, solid way, as a flower would, gorgeous, flawless, and how you're presenting yourself, but visible. You have to be at the top of the hill, um, easy to find, right, for these stakeholders to reach out to you. And essentially, this will reduce a lot of the anxiety around, losing dignity as you search for your next career move. And we developed this together on your profile to ensure that you're hitting all the important keywords, building your value proposition and your pitch, your slogan on your profile. And LinkedIn is different from the CV in the sense that everyone can see your LinkedIn profile. Not everyone has access to your CV. So that is something to be mindful of when you're thinking about your LinkedIn profile. And so we go through the picture, the background picture, the way you're describing yourself, whether you're looking to be hired or looking to find clients. We will approach this together in a strategic way, positioning you to be harassed and not you harassing others. Although you will approach people, but it will be strategic and planned, and it will you will get the engagement that you want to get if you follow these steps. LinkedIn Analytics, because it's a search tool, just like any other search tool, whether you're searching on Facebook or on Google, Yahoo, you can search on LinkedIn. You can company search by search for jobs, for posts, for people, obviously. So it's important to understand the back end of LinkedIn, how to do Boolean searches and the use of keywords, and you don't necessarily need to have a an expensive subscription to do that, right? You can very well navigate LinkedIn with the premium subscription and be yeah, be very successful with that alone. Keywords, so I mentioned them, but um, when we work together, I make sure to run a search on the job descriptions that best describe you, to understand what are the key elements, what are the trends in your space, in your field, in your industry, in your function, um, to ensure that we are positioning you the right way, targeting um, the right players in the way we talk about you. And this is really important for people in career transitions. Like if you're changing industry or functions or country, you need to be mindful of these elements, right? So how are you going to be found by those talent acquisition managers, headhunters, recruiters? It is directly linked to the use or misuse of keywords in your LinkedIn profile. So this is the LinkedIn optimization tool that I believe will get you places. Networking mastery comes um, in different, I would say, steps, whether it's offline, online. There are many tools that we can use to help you network without losing dignity, without begging, you know, especially for people in the C-suite. It's really complicated because a lot of their jobs are not necessarily posted online. You know, they have a lot of it's delicate for them to announce that they're free and ready to go. So they end up having to run secretive searches in a way uh, that have to be thought carefully because you know, whether companies being acquired or if they have some sort of non-compete clause or you know, if they hold IP of certain products and services, it's always a delicate balance for them to job search. So networking is definitely a good place to go for those individuals. LinkedIn search tools would be, I think, very useful here. And with that, I mean finding your clones and your future selves. And what do I mean by that? So, you know, people ask me, Rebecca, but I'm on LinkedIn. Okay, great. I'll connect with my colleagues. And then what? And so, you know, so this is a common mistake. So on LinkedIn, you don't want to connect with your colleagues. I mean, you can, but it's not going to get you places because your colleagues, you've known these colleagues for a while, and you know, if you are job searching, if you are looking to change careers, um, you would have already been able to do that if you were simply using the magic that happens to be in your circle. But the magic is not in your circle, it's outside of your circle. Otherwise, you know, like I said, you would have probably already made the moves. So there's a lot of research about this, but essentially, weak ties and dormant ties, especially dormant ties, are going to be the most helpful people in your job search, in your career transitions, not your strong ties, meaning not your close friends or your colleagues. Simply because they know the same people you know, they are in the same circles that you belong to, and there's nothing there that will be of help. Most of the time, people who you used to work with, you used to know, you used to hang out with, these are dormant ties, people you haven't been in contact with for a long time. If you reconnect with those people, they have created new lives, new networks, new circles. They have new jobs. They are in different companies. they've made new friends. These are the kind of people who usually will be happy to help because they already know you're a trusted person. You don't have to establish trust with them from the beginning. You can leverage the trust that you already have, and then simply tap into this new ecosystem that they've built. Um, but there are two other avatars that are important for you to link with, and one is your clone. So, I am a Brazilian raised in Switzerland who used to work for the United Nations. So I'm going to go find other Brazilians raised in Switzerland who studied in Switzerland, for example, and who have worked at the United Nations, because chances are really high that we would have a lot to talk about, a lot in common. We would probably even have friends in common, and it will be really easy to build rapport with these types of individuals. The future self is someone I would like to become. So let's imagine I'm an immigration specialist and I want to work at Amazon as an immigration specialist. Right now, I'm in a law firm. So I would start connecting with immigration specialists at Amazon, um, because that's the future version of myself, the version that I want to become. And connecting with these individuals is really powerful in terms of, advancing in my career. Skillful influence, it's really hard to connect with strangers. I give you that. But there are simple tools that you can use to make this process less painful and to guarantee success. And it's really fun, actually. One of the things you need to remember is to have at least three things in common with the stranger you're approaching, to build rapport fast. I think compliments are very important as well because it breaks the ice, but they really have to be specific and authentic. And I really like when people give before they take, right? So you can ask questions. You can, perhaps even, ask for a like, on the post that you shared, but don't take before you give. So I think it's really important that when you approach somebody that you do not know, that you approach them adding value first. So that's the first move. You want to, buy the book that they're selling, read the article that they're publishing, get the ticket to the conference that they will be speaking at. Depending on how senior they are, you need to invest first, and maybe you need to invest more. It all really depends on how high they rank in terms of their careers in comparison to yours. Building this strategically will guarantee the engagement. So you're not going to have a situation where people don't write back. So this is really frustrating when people don't answer. But typically, this happens when you start by asking for their time, a phone call, when you start by asking for a recommendation, or for them to support your business in some way, when they don't know you, so why would they go out of their way to help you? So that's really the best way to approach strangers. And there's a lot of research about this. Vanessa Van Edwards talks a lot about this. Malcolm Gladwell, some authors are known to, Adam Grant, to give tools that are really easy to apply. In your career transitions, you will have to speak to strangers, or you will not get through. So let's get good at that. Job/company searches. What I mean by this is, job applications, job search. But I mean, let's do it in a way that is thoughtful. So let's hack into a company's leadership team. Let's say you're an HR coordinator and you want to work in HR for a specific company that you are excited about. So let's understand who is part of the leadership in HR. Is there anybody there that you can approach? Maybe because you have some friends in common, or maybe because they have something in common with you, whichever commonality there might be, or simply you have access to them on LinkedIn, following the networking strategies that we can develop together. But it's not always applying online will only get you so far. You're going to have to go into this creative way of searching for a job, right? This is actually the safest way to get conversations, and transform them into formal interviews, eventually landing the offers that you're looking for. I have a client who did this recently. He was obsessed with a company that he really wanted to work for, and he applied twice. He was rejected twice. Eventually, he sent an email to HR explaining why he's a good fit, why he needs 15 minutes of their time to present his ideas. He got 15 minutes of their time. He presented his ideas brilliantly. He made a beautiful presentation with all of the key points that um, you know make for a perfect fit. And he is now talking to. Hopefully, he's going to be talking to the hiring manager next, to the business unit leader. And this is something that I've seen a lot. I've seen many people be rejected on paper, but then, oh, well, I rejected you, but then when I met you, I realized, maybe you are, a very good culture fit. You don't have all the skills that we need, but you have the mindset. You fit the culture. You have friends inside here vouching for you, or perhaps you have our product in and out, and you've already did an assessment of what needs to be done in terms of our product development strategy or marketing strategy. You volunteered a lot of your time, of course, in order to do that. It's a risk, but it's a risk that usually pays off. Talent acquisition versus headhunters. Headhunters are going to be hard to catch, right? They are commission based. And as the name suggests, I mean, they are hunters, and they are, really hard to get on a long-term relationship with. So my advice to you is find the talent acquisition managers inside the firm, the in-house recruiter that works in the firm that you're trying to hack, and build a relationship with that individual. So that also happened with one of my clients, where he was developing a relationship with the talent acquisition manager in the startup that he wanted to work. Well, it's a scale up. It's not a startup anymore. And eventually, 3 months down the line, the talent acquisition manager was like, "Well, you know what? There might be a job for you coming up. Let's have a chat." And it went brilliantly. The job was basically his within a couple of months, and the job was never even posted. So he was right at the source. So I think perhaps bet on the talent acquisition managers rather than the headhunters and recruiters who are in agencies and who are commission based. Join us. So a lot of the founders will have that on their profiles, or we're hiring. So if you plug that into your search on LinkedIn, you will get a lot of interesting profiles that in your region that you want to approach. And of course, you want to customize to the language of your region. So once you find those people, you want to send them a promo letter asking, not asking, you're essentially just presenting yourself. This is who I am. These are my skills. I'm free to start engaging in a new project, within 30 days notice. If you can use those skills, great. If not, maybe let me know what you're looking for. If it's not me, could be somebody in my network. Wish you the best of luck with your talent search, your talent acquisition strategy. companies that are scaling need talent, and it's not going to hurt to ask about what kind of talent, how can I help? Maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody that I know. So really reaching out to those people who are looking for trouble, right? So they're saying, join us. Okay, I'm here, then tell me what can I do for you and how can I help you, because I might be just the right fit. And if it's not me, then give me some more info. I might be able to hook you up with other people in my network. That kind of attitude really pays off. And then job search tools and filters. Yeah, we can look at jobs in other ways and other platforms and other, job boards. And there's so many. I can think of, Glassdoor or Indeed, Monster. I mean, LinkedIn is probably the most reliable one today, most up to date, the most commonly used. So this is something we can discuss together and look at, how are the jobs being named versus what you're searching, because sometimes, let's say you're a receptionist, and this is a common, it happens a lot where, for example, Google, they call their receptionists first impressions manager. That's how the receptionist is called. So this is how the job is going to be published. And if you're a receptionist and you type in receptionist, you're never going to find this, because this job is called first impressions manager. And so it's important for you to understand those different titles that at the end mean the same thing, but they're not the same words. And this is why it's really crucial that you search by competencies and not by title when you're job searching. Now, interview preparation. I mean, this is the fun part when you already have the meeting in your calendar and you need to focus on finding the best way to get through the filters. So there are different screenings. Some companies will have up to 9 interview stages. Some will have 2 or 3, depending on their structure and their size. But essentially, you need to understand how to handle the different stages, whether it's direct questions, behavioral questions, situational questions, case studies, and all of these different stages will have different challenges for you. So we have to go through them together, understand how you're going to pitch you as a product, how you're going to master, the panel. Influence the panel that's in front of you. Understand who are the stakeholders in that panel interviewing you. What have they published? What have they wrote? What have they posted? Who are they? What are their next career moves? Because how are you going to fit into that and slide into that role easily? The political game, mapping the org, understanding, they call this an influence map, but really digging deep into the stakeholders that will surround you if you were to take that job in that firm. That is a big part of what we do together. So personal branding, body language needs to be checked very carefully before you go to an in-person meeting, because there is no second chance to a first impression, and because body language is really important in your reading others, predicting their next moves, and also protecting yourself and in understanding when to intervene, when to stop talking, what what kind of presence do you want to have, whether it's a dominant one, whether it's a softer collaborative approach. We just want to understand the context that you're going to be fitting into and slide you elegantly right into that spot, not as who you are, but more as who they need you to be, right? So there's a subtle difference, but it's an important one there. We will go through personality testing, psychometric assessments, EQ tests, IQ tests to help you answer those tests the best possible way. A lot of companies use them, especially in senior level positions. And I think this is also something to not be ignored, right? And last but not least is the salary customization. So we know what companies are paying. Um, Even if they're not publicly listed, we have a pretty good idea. There are many ways to see that. Pay scale, Glassdoor provides a lot of updated information about that, and reviews about company culture. So it's not impossible to understand what a total compensation is expected for you in a given role, given industry, given location. And what's really crucial here is to understand who are the stakeholders that you will be asking questions of, once you get the offer. And let's just make one thing clear: there's no salary negotiation conversation until you have an offer. Like, if they ask you how much do you want to make, you tell them how much you want to make, not how much you make. You ideally give them a ceiling. Hey, if we're talking about 200K plus, I'm good. If we're talking about less than that, I mean, let's not waste each other's time. And I'm not going to, go through this selection process. So that's just an indication of how tall you are, right? It's just how much you measure. It's not complicated. When you start the process, you want to give them an idea of where you stand, but this is not your salary or the salary you want to make. When you get the offer, then the conversation about the salary can start. And what we're doing here is we want to make sure to adjust the offer to your needs, to your cost of living, to the commitments you've made, the mortgage you have, the car you need, the family. Sometimes my clients are going to be the only person working in their household, and so they absolutely have to make this salary negotiation. It's a critical step for them to feel satisfied and excited about the next role. And it's also important that they understand that they're making more than the people that they're managing, because that can also be a difficult dynamic, and we have to calculate this in the balance. So asking for what you deserve to the right stakeholders based on up-to-date factual information, right? Elements of a total comp. So you want to understand everything that has all the perks and all the benefits that come within the total comp, right? Because the salary is just one, the base comp, the salary is one aspect of your pay. One thing that people seem to ignore or forget, and this is something really important that I want to highlight here, is leaving your old boss. So how you're going to exit is just as important as how you're going to enter. Why? Because you want to leave by through the front door. You want to leave in good terms. You want to leave with your recommendation letters. You want to leave with your package, your bonus. You want to leave the job that you're in a dignified way, no desperation. So we have to calculate how to make that exit beneficial for you, as much as we also have to calculate how to make your new employment contract beneficial for you and for the firm, right? We're looking at all the stakeholders here. And this conversation is not as scary and not as complex as we normally think it is. So this is a big part of what I do. And I think, this sums up pretty much all the tips I have for you today, for you to be mindful of all these elements. And I think if you follow these if you follow these steps, if you apply this in your transitions, you will be successful. So thank you. That was it for today. I am here if you have any questions. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to answer. and provide more information, to send you the presentation if you need to. But that's it. I think I've covered the most important points, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. We will talk about different topics every time we bring relevant, up-to-date, critical elements to share with you. I think the next one should be about supply chain optimizations post-COVID. How far can you go in optimizing until you end up phasing out yourself? So this is an interesting one as well. Process mining and yeah. So thank you for your time and for your loyalty, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.